We are honored this morning that the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, and the United States Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, have come to Chicago to talk with us about how the federal government and the city of Chicago can better work together to end the violence against our young people. The needless and brutal violence that continues to take our children from us is an outrage. Even one child lost to violence is one too many in our city. I am very thankful that it is also the outrage of the administration leaders in Washington, D.C. Every Chicagoan has a responsibility to help prevent and end the violence. So does every level of government, local, state, and federal. To help deepen our partnership with Washington, I met this morning with Attorney General Holder and Secretary Arne Duncan and community leaders and faith-based leaders. It was a very, very productive meeting. Among the things we talked about, how best to focus our resources on the young people and the families who need help the most without sacrificing other priorities. The importance of offering more Saturday and after-school programs at local schools, where our young people can learn and take part in other positive activities. How to get more adults involved with our young people as mentors. And how to more effectively tell the success stories. And I see the success stories involving many young people and families who can serve as role models for their peers in every community of our city. Yesterday, as you know, I made some specific requests of the federal government, which included asking the Department of Justice to work better with us to align Department of Justice resources in Chicago with our efforts to break up the gangs and address the youth violence. To address the important issue of sharing critical information between schools, professional people in schools, and local law enforcement on youth violence, dealing with federal law and even state law that prevents that. And to provide more funding, not only for police, dedicated around our schools, but more funding for good after-school programs and Saturday programs. Let us remember, much of the violence against Chicago's young people involved gang violence, unfortunately. We need the help of the federal government to help break up the gangs in our city, which does not end at a city limit, and the terror that may bring to communities, not only the city, but throughout the country. We also need the support to provide more after-school and other programs that help us intervene in a child's life before they get on the wrong track. Their presence here today sends a very powerful message to the gangbangers and dope dealers that we will not tolerate their violent way of life. And to the people of Chicago, that they support our efforts to provide positive alternatives to all of our children. We look forward to working more closely with the federal government to protect all of our children. This is not just one meeting. We're talking about just one neighborhood or just one school. These are issues brewing beneath the surface at other schools, and other communities, and other cities. We need to address them immediately as a crisis. If we get it right together, all of us can truly make a difference. Now I'd like to ask the Attorney General of the United States of America, Holder, to please speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nearly 2 weeks ago, this nation was shocked by a video showing scenes of such graphic violence that they left an indelible mark in the mind of every American who has seen them. Now, for many Americans who live with the threat of violence every day, the video was a sad reminder of the harshness and the cruelty that remains all too prevalent in many parts of this country. For others, it was a stark wake-up call to a reality that can be easy for too many to ignore as they go about their daily lives. For me, and for this administration, it was a call to action to address a challenge that affects this entire nation. Youth violence is not a Chicago problem, any more than it is a black problem, a white problem, or a Hispanic problem. It is something that affects communities big and small, and people of all races and all colors. It is an American problem. The Department of Justice is releasing a new study today that measures the effects of youth violence in America, and the results are staggering. More than 60% of the children surveyed were exposed to violence in the past year, either directly or indirectly. Neither half of children and adolescents were assaulted at least once, and more than 1 in 10 was injured as a result. Nearly 1/4 were the victim of a robbery, vandalism, or theft, and 1 in 16 were victimized sexually. Now, those numbers are astonishing, and they are unacceptable. We simply cannot stand for an epidemic of violence that robs our youth of their childhood and perpetuates a cycle in which too many of today's victims become tomorrow's criminals. Now, we're here today to continue a public safety conversation that the Obama administration began on day one. It has included a law enforcement summit that I hosted at the Department of Justice, a White House gang prevention conference, and countless episodes of collaboration with local law enforcement. But it's not a conversation where we want to do all of the talking. We want to listen to educators, to parents, to students, and to experts in the field, and find out the best ideas for addressing this urgent problem. We're not interested in just scratching the surface or focusing on generalities. And as we delve into this problem, we're not going to protect any sacred cows. We're here to learn firsthand what's happening on our streets so that we can devise effective solutions. Now, our responses to this issue in the past have been fragmented. The federal government does one thing, states do another, and localities do a third. We need a comprehensive, coordinated approach to address today's youth violence, one that encompasses the latest research and the freshest approaches. We have to ask hard questions, and we have to be prepared to face tough truths. Our administration is committed to implementing such strategies, which is why we've asked for $24 million in next year's budget for community-based crime prevention programs such as Ceasefire and Project Safe Neighborhood. And it's why our Office of Justice Programs is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to provide support and assistance to communities affected by violence. There are no easy, there are no quick fixes. This will not happen overnight. Our approach will need to involve not just law enforcement, but also faith-based organizations, the business community, and social service groups. Every citizen has to be a part of the solution. We will need a combination of prevention, intervention, and targeted enforcement. Now, we started by meeting today with community leaders here in Chicago and with students from Bangor High School. I'll be honest, these were not all easy conversations. There's a lot of frustration, and there's a lot of pain right now, and there should be. The status quo is not acceptable. But I want the people of Chicago and the people of this nation to know that we are not going to rest until we've done everything that we can to protect the American people, to protect American children, and to stem this tide of violence. The Department of Justice has already committed resources to helping keep our children and our schools safe. Just last week, we announced $16 million through our Cops Secure Our Schools program in grants to law enforcement agencies and municipalities throughout the country, including almost $500,000 to the city of Chicago. These grants provide funds to improve security in schools and on school grounds by helping to pay for security measures like metal detectors, locks, surveillance systems, and other equipment to help deter crime. These are only first steps, and we will do more. We talked to the President about this, and he is firmly committed to this issue, as are Secretary Duncan and myself. So today is the continuation of what is going to be a sustained national effort on behalf of this entire administration to address youth violence and to make our streets safe for everyone. Now I'd like to turn it over to the Secretary.